Alright, welcome back to the channel, everybody. First of all, let's thank Dick Pritchett Real Estate for having these terrific cams for us to watch. It's been another good week at the Nest site. So let's get into April 9th through the 15th. So let's start with Sunday. Remember, this is what I see when I watch the live cam. Sunday 4/9 at 1:15 a.m. 21 gets struck by an owl. He recovers and flies off to the right. At 7 a.m. 22's over the Nest cam. But I can hear 21 calling in the background, so I'm pretty sure 21's okay. At 8:52 a.m. an intruder flies in the nest with a fish and starts eating. But 4 minutes later, here comes the cavalry. 21's first, but the intruder grabs that fish and hauls ass just before 21 gets there. And then 21 arrives, or 22 arrives, and 21 flies off. But both these look okay. At 1 p.m., both these are in the nest, and they've been there for a while, calling, waiting on Dad. They look like they're a little hungry. At 2:12 p.m., M15 flies to the snag to the right by the road. 21 flies to the snag and gets the prey, and 21 goes to the ground and is eating. Not sure what it was, some kind of UFO. Looked like a mammal to me of some kind. 22 was still in the nest vocalizing. About 2:42, 21 flies off the prey and flies out of view, and 22 flies down and starts eating on the prey. So there's a good teaching right there. Instead of bringing the prey to the nest, M brought the prey to the snag and made the ease go to him to get it. At 3:20, M15 leaves the snag. 22 is done eating just about the same time and flies over the pond towards Cam 3. One of the places they hang out a lot during the day is in the office oak, which is the big oak tree on the other side of the pond by Cam 3, by the office. At about 6:03 p.m., 22 flies into the attic and is being very vocal. M15 returns at 6:43 with a fish. 22 gets the fish and is eating. 21 flies up to the attic perch. M15 heads down to the pond after the delivery. Then M15 returns at 7:44 with a fish. 22 gets the fish and is eating, but gets off the fish pretty quick, and 21 gets it and eats it. At 8:15, both these are in the nest. One's on the veranda. I'm thinking to myself, hopefully no owl strikes. 22 does end up dropping down in the nest and sleeps in the nest for the night. Brings us to Monday, 4:10. At 6:50 a.m., both these are in the nest. There were no owl strikes overnight. They're picking at scraps a little bit. At 9:20, both these are down at the pond, drinking, kind of playing around, just exploring. M15 returns at 1:23 with a fish. 22 gets the fish. 21 tries to fly into the nest, but 22 blocks. 22 starts eating. 21 kind of, flies around a little bit, ends up flying back into the attic perch. 22 wasn't happy. 21 gets back in the nest and tries a couple steal attempts of the fish, but 22 blocks and gets most of the fish. 21 got a few scraps. M15 returns at 3:04 with a fish. 21 gets that fish and is eating. So both these have had a fish now for the day. Around 4:30, both these have been kind of back and forth from the pond, drinking water, taking light baths. You know, they're learning. M15 returns at 4:37, and he brings the prey down to the pond. Looked like we couldn't really tell which E got the prey, but then at 4:39, one of the E's flew into the water about 10 feet out from the from the sand. I'm not sure what that was. Ended up paddling right to the shore, over to the bank, thank God. Hopefully it doesn't do that out in the middle of the lake or somewhere. Could drown. At 5:04, M15 flies over the pond with a fish towards Cam 3, which is over by the office oak we were just talking about earlier. At 6:33, M15 and an intruder return. The E's are in the nest. The intruder kind of lands on 22, but boy, 22 recovers and is not happy and chases that intruder off the nest. 21 does get the fish and starts eating. The intruder ends up flying off. She kind of landed underneath the nest, but she didn't stay there long. She flew off. At about 7:07, 21 gets off that fish, and 22 gets the scraps and eats it. Both these were in the nest picking at scraps back and forth, and that was about it for the night. Brings us to Tuesday, 4:11. At 7 a.m., both these are in the nest, kind of picking at scraps. They both look good. 22's kind of hopping around, just being a child. At 9:42, M15 returns with a squirrel. He delivers that squirrel to the pond. Both these were at the pond. It appeared 22 got the squirrel and ate it. At 12:24, M15 and an intruder return with a rabbit. The intruder chases M15 around the nest site, over the pond. The chase continued, and the intruder grabbed the prey in midair and, of course, spiraled him to the ground. And this was in the west pasture. This wasn't on video. I was given this information by somebody on the ground. E22 ended up flying towards them and the intruder, but the intruder took off with the rabbit. 22 did give a brief chase, but 22 just flew back. They're not ready to chase other predators off the nest site, chasing them prey. So at 1:42, both these were at the pond. They were on a log not too far from it. Just looked like they were waiting on Dad, looking cute. At 6:30 p.m., they were both lying in the nest, kind of beaking and just chilling together. It does look like they bonded back again, which is good to see. At about 8 p.m., M15's down at the pond drinking, and these were still in the nest, just chilling. That's about it for the night. I did want to point out again that during the day, they do really like to be in that office oak, probably because they get shade there. There's not a lot of shade up in the nest tree. It's been kind of warm in Florida. That brings us to Wednesday, 4/12. At 7 a.m., both these are up in the nest tree. M15 returns about 8:07, just with looked like a piece of fish. 22 got the piece of fish and ate it. At 9:32, M15 returns with a fish. 22 got the fish and was eating on most of it. 21 did get a few scraps. 12 p.m. both these are in the nest tree. There's been a steady rain since about 9:40 a.m. It also rained pretty good on Sunday. So there's been rain this week. We've actually got to see the pond kind of fill back up. At about 2 p.m. the rain is stopping. Both E's were in the nest tree drying off, had their wings open, just looking beautiful. M15 returns at 4:16 with the UFO. He delivers it to the pond. Both E's fly to M from the office oak. It appeared to me that 21 got there first and got the prey. 22 chases, but 21 picked up that prey and flew off with it. So another good lesson learned. Bring the prey to the pond. Let them kind of see who gets there first. First one gets it. You know 22 is going to go after them. So 21 just took the prey and hauled ass. At 6 p.m., both these are in the nest tree just chilling. At around 8 p.m., 21 is in the nest, but 22 had flown off about 7:45 and did not return to the nest tree that evening. Thursday, that's 4:13, 6:45 a.m., 21's in the nest tree, but I can hear 22 calling in the office. 22 flies into the attic perch shortly after that, and both these are in the attic. M15 returns at 10:26 with a fish. 22 gets and is eating. 21 was just waiting in the attic. 21 did get a few scraps, but not much. At 1:53, an intruder's in the nest tree. 21 is giving the intruder a hard time. The intruder looked like it was about a 3-year-old, beautiful subadult. Then about 2:14, 22 flies to the nest tree, and that intruder flew off. I guess 2 was too many. Then at 2:21, another intruder returns. Another subadult. Wasn't the same one as before. This time both 21 and 22 are being very vocal. The intruder hung around for a little bit, about 15 minutes, and then flew off. She was just chilling. It didn't look like she had any bad intentions. Then at M15 returns at 3:27 with a fish. 21 gets that fish and is eating. 21 eats most of that fish. 22 really didn't get nothing. An intruder did follow M15 back to the nest tree, but she didn't get nothing. At 6 p.m., both these are in the nest tree looking good. M15 returned at 6:40 with a UFO. The E's were kind of fighting over the prey. A tug of war kind of ensued. 21 wins the fight, eats the UFO. 22 might have got a few scraps, maybe. At 7:10, M15 returns with a fish. 22 gets the fish and starts eating. Then at 7:23, 21 poops on 22's back. It was kind of funny, so I added it. At 7:24, 21 drops back into the nest and tries a couple steal attempts of the fish. They briefly have a fight. 22 wins the fight, but 21 did get a couple of bites, maybe. About 8:15, both these are in the nest getting ready for bed, beaking and just chilling, looking cute. That brings us to Friday, 4:14. Just to let y'all know, both E's have been seen soaring high and circling now. That's really a good thing. So at 6:50 a.m., both these are in the nest tree. They're certainly early risers, let me tell you guys. You got to be up early. And sometimes they're even gone out of that tree. If you're not up at 6:45 Florida time, sometimes they're gone at 7 a.m. They fly back to the office. At M15, an intruder return at 7:29 with a fish. The east chased the intruder out of the nest, but unfortunately she steals the prey on her way out of the nest. M15 and an intruder return again at 10:27 with a fish. 22 gets the fish and is eating. 21 tries a couple of steal attempts, but 22 blocks. 21 was able to steal a few bites, but 22 got most of that fish. M15 returns at 11:25 with a UFO. He delivers it to the front left of the pond. 21 comes down and gets and flies off. We see 21 later over on the left side of the pond eating. At 12:15, both these are at the pond drinking and bathing. M15 returns at 3:57 with a fish. 21 gets that fish and is eating. Both these were on the snag to the front of the right of the nest, and 21 was just faster to get to the nest. 22 did get a few scraps. At 8:10, both these were in the nest tree, above cam 1 to the left of the camera. Unfortunately, at 10:56 p.m., 22 got hit by an owl, knocked kind of down on the camera, and then dropped down into the nest. And then he goes up to the veranda and spends the rest of the night. Shortly after that, at 11:05, 21 is struck by an owl, but does not fall off the perch. Didn't look like it was a solid strike, maybe a glance. Here again, we're putting up with these owl strikes and these intruders. Something we're seeing constantly here. So, you would think after all this time that we would be done with the owl strikes and intruders, but M's still fighting off intruders and the kids are still fighting owl strikes. Alright, that brings us to Saturday. At 6:30, both these are in the nest tree. They appear okay. M15 returns at 10:17 with a fish. 22 gets the fish and is eating. At about 10:28, 21 flies off towards cam 3. Looked like maybe she saw something, maybe Dad. I'm not sure. She sure did seem awfully interested about something up there. At 10:53, M15 returns with a fish. 22 gets and is eating. 21 did get a few scraps. At 12:06, M15 returns with a fish. 21 gets that fish and is eating. And M15 heads to the pond after the delivery. And 22 joined M15 at the pond. Shortly after that, both these were at the pond drinking and playing. And then they were in the nest tree with M for quite a while during the afternoon. At 6 p.m., both these were in the nest tree waiting on Dad. And of course, M15 returns at 6:16 with a fish. It was an armored catfish. 22 gets the fish and is eating. And then M headed to the pond after the delivery. 21 tries a couple steal attempts, but 22 blocks with some aggressive blocks. It looked to me like the fish had been eaten on a little bit. Both these kind of just ate back and forth on that carcass for a while. And about 8:15, they're both up in the upper branches of the nest tree, kind of up over the can to the left. So let's talk real quick about a little bit about the week. Looks like we've got, Dad's starting to give some lessons here, taking food, different places around the nest site. These are good lessons, good learning for the kids. They haven't been fighting like they had been. That's also a good thing. It definitely looks like they're back bonding. It looks like 22 has knocked off this baloney. So that's a good thing. Now if we could just stop the intruders and the owl strikes, we'd have something. But unfortunately, I think we're going to have to keep dealing with those until the end of this. I don't think it's going to stop anytime soon. Just some brief stuff. I want to thank everybody who's been watching the videos. Thank y'all who've subscribed. I really appreciate it. Once these two E's fly off, which I'm pretty sure they're going to do, I hope y'all stay with me on the channel, and we're going to keep doing rides, and there'll be more live rides instead of me doing voiceover to a live ride. But we're going to be watching some other birds. There's Angel and Tom. They're red-tailed hawks. Angel's a leucistic hawk. She's beautiful. She's almost all white. And there's other stuff, we'll be talking about. I'll be going to some lakes, and we'll be still having plenty to talk about. We talk about news and stuff like that of the week. We don't talk about religion and politics, though. Just kind of the news of the week. So, hey, if you like the video, leave a like. Please subscribe and leave a comment. We'll see what happens next week. Hopefully we have another good week, a good successful week for the E's and for N. Y'all have a good one. See you on the next ride.